Yeah. And here we are.
We are here. You know, last night, while I finally was able to pick the lock on the trunk of Faye's car.
Yes.
And I was able to get out, and then this Latino guy pushed me into a second trunk sitting right next to Faye's car.
And you got out, apparently.
And he had a mustache.
Apparently you got out. We have to be better and more swift next time.
Yeah.
It was a great show.
And it was. And I heard the overtalk of the intro. It's a very interesting thing. I will be bribing you later.
The plan to do this again to you so that we can continue hosting these shows. Yes, that's going to happen.
We have lots of news that we are getting ready to do on Queer News Tonight. So, welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening news. See how much smoother that was than last night?
I don't think so.
It's
She's
time.
much prettier, though.
She is much prettier. Yeah, she's much prettier. All right, well, it's time to queer up the news. It's 8 p.m. Tuesday, November 16th, 2021, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, you will see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are part of the partnership between Happening Out Television Network and Hotspots Magazine. Hotspots is celebrating 36 years of the LGBTQ plus experience. We bring you the best of LGBTQ plus news, entertainment, and support of our community.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson. Let's welcome, first up, Tony Lima. He is the CEO of SunServe here in Wilton Manors. He is a lifetime and longtime South Florida LGBTQ plus activist and political advocate, as well as the anchor of the world's first monthly transgender talk show called Translation. Well, good evening, Tony.
Good evening, Al. So happy to be here with you, as I am every single week. So excited because, you know, I hear there's talk that Translation may be going weekly again. That's really, really exciting news to come.
Quick question, Tony, before you move on to
she's much prettier than you are, yes.
You like me better than Faye. You were just talking about
I was saying she looks much better on camera. She's smoother, and I could watch her for days. I love you, hermanita. Can't wait till you're back.
Child, please. All right.
Let's now welcome anchor Michael Gongora, serving his third non-consecutive term as a Miami Beach commissioner. He sits on the board of directors for Council Towers, providing affordable housing for our elderly residents and expanding senior low-income food programs. He has a particular emphasis on the municipal support of education as health communities result from a first-class educational system. Good evening, Michael.
Thank you, Tony, for that great introduction. It's wonderful to be here in my final week, actually, as Miami Beach Commissioner.
3 terms of your service to Miami Beach.
Thank you, Al. It's now my pleasure to welcome anchor Peter Bisuito, an internationally known comedian, writer, producer, director, and actor, selling out shows in 5 countries, including his 2 sold-out shows here at the Broward Center for the Performing Arts in Fort Lauderdale. 2 years ago, he created and wrote a pilot episode to a new sitcom called Bent and Chester. It went on to win awards at film festivals. Unfortunately, the pandemic shut the project down, so Peter decided to rewrite the script into a 2-act play, which will be performed this holiday season in Wilton Manors. He's also a huge advocate on dog rescue and uses his new YouTube video podcast called Ask a Naked Guy Crocheting to raise money in rescuing dogs from slaughterhouses in China. Good evening, Peter.
Thank you, Michael. And I just want to remind everybody that my play opens in a week and a half. November 27th,
Awesome.
We open. Go to ventandchester.com. Thank you very much.
Are those free tickets? Is that what you
They are not free tickets.
No.
Free don't pay the bills. Okay.
Right, exactly.
All right, let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro, a 1999 inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the author of 2 short story collections and 5 books of poetry. He is also an entertainment journalist. His celebrity interviews and music reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ+ and mainstream publications and websites, and his screensaver movie review column can be found in South Florida Gay News, San Francisco's Bay Area Reporter, RottenTomatoes.com, and more. Good evening, Gregg.
Howdy do. We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ+ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Oh, come on, Greg. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the Queer News for today, Tuesday, November 16th.
I'm still recovering from howdy do. Well, let's queer up South Florida. Fort Lauderdale Mayor Dean Trantalis introduces a progressive pride street. Yesterday, Queer News Tonight reported on the new Progress Pride flag crosswalk on Sebastian Street at Gay 1A. I wasn't here last night at Queer News Tonight because I was on location and got to interview Mayor Trantalis about the historic crossing. While the current crosswalk is a temporary vinyl one, the mayor said he is personally handling a fundraiser to have it added permanently. Watch this. Well, it's Al Ferguson with Queer News Tonight, and I'm here, of course, with the mayor of Fort Lauderdale, Dean Trantalis, and we're at the ceremony introducing the Progressive Pride flag on Gay 1A. Wait, I thought this was A1A.
No, this week it's Gay 1A.
Yeah, Gay 1A, and it's Gay 1A this week because we're at Pride Fort Lauderdale, and this week is the launch of the celebration, November 20th and 21st. We're going to have a magnificent parade down A1A, one of the best beach roads in the country to have a Pride festival and parade, and then into the South Beach Park for the festival on Saturday and Sunday. How proud are you of this moment for the city of Fort Lauderdale?
It's a long time coming, and we really appreciate the community coming together and embracing the diversity that Fort Lauderdale represents. And here, the LGBT community, who has long populated this area of the beach, the Sebastian Street beach right here, and this being Sebastian Street, it's a perfect place to have put the LGBTQ flag, the progressive flag, right here, covering the pathway between the parking lot and the beach. And I think the whole city is proud to be able to be part of this.
Absolutely, and the city is proud during Pride Week, and it's a win-win for all of the residents of Broward County and the city of Fort Lauderdale. Now, we have to get in the fact that Mayor Trantalis is also a member of our community.
Yes.
And is there any city in the country major city, others that are like you, that are members of our community?
I haven't taken a survey, but I'm sure. I know there once was in South Bend, but he's now secretary.
Oh yeah, he went on to do something else.
He did something bigger, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But
and Lori Lightfoot in Chicago.
And Lori, of course, yes.
In Chicago.
There are a number of them, and when we get to meet as in the U.S. Conference of Mayors, we certainly connect. But I'm proud to be the mayor of Fort Lauderdale, and I'm proud to be able to represent the LGBT community. And I think it's an important milestone in a community that really hasn't always embraced who we were, and now here we are today, a forward-thinking, progressive community, and I'm very happy to be reflected.
And last question for you while I have you, thank you for the time. This is going to launch 1 year from now, another Pride evolution of Pride Fort Lauderdale called Pride of the Americas, and the entire Western Hemisphere, like a world pride, is going to come to Fort Lauderdale and Broward County, but to the city of Fort Lauderdale. Tell us a little bit about that, Pride of America.
So a couple of years ago, the community had planned Pride of the Americas, and unfortunately COVID took away that dream. So we are hoping to return to that goal next year, to be able to bring the countries of the Western Hemisphere right here in Fort Lauderdale to celebrate Pride of the Western Hemisphere. So it's Pride of the Americas. What better place than this gorgeous Fort Lauderdale beach, and a community that embraces diversity, and it's going to be an amazing enterprise. Talent, entertainment, visibility, everything that that we deserve and that we enjoy is all going to happen right here.
It sounds so exciting. Make sure you come to Pride Fort Lauderdale, the big parade this Saturday, and the festival on Saturday and Sunday. All kinds of entertainment coming. And if you can't get here, we will be broadcasting it live right on K1A. What a great name for a new street.
It fits.
It does. It fits. Thank you for being with us. All the luck, and congratulations on your new progressive flag right here in the heart of Fort Lauderdale.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well, a flag on Sebastian Street. What do y'all think?
I think it's great. We've had one in Miami Beach for a while. We've had the Pride Crosswalk at 12th and Ocean, and it really sends a message that our community's welcome there.
I think it's really exciting that it's the progressive pride flag, which is really inclusive of all of our communities, including the trans and non-binary community, black and brown folks. And I also love to hear that this is going to be a permanent thing.
Well, like you always say, it's the gayest place on planet Earth. It just got gayer.
Yes, you know what's interesting to me about that? They were taking pictures, and to your point about a progressive flag, they were taking pictures, and they were taking pictures at the other end where the rainbow portion is. And I finally said, y'all are taking pictures from the wrong end of
it's the chevron.
You want to start at the chevron and see the rainbow colors behind the progressive colors, to include the pink, white, blue, brown, and black. And it was interesting. Everybody kind of laughed a little of going, oh yeah, we kind of got to get used to this again. So I agree with you. The progressive flag is really outstanding.
Well, now we queer up the USA. White Nationalist festival booth have people wipe feet on pride flag for fun. Poland, which has become one of the most anti-LGBTQ countries in Europe, has started to backpedal slightly after international condemnation and economic sanctions. But during a festival to honor the country's Independence Day, a far-right nationalist group helped locals express their hatred of LGBTQ people. It threw a pride flag on the ground and invited people to trample on it as a sign of disrespect. Celebrations were banned by the courts this year over fear of violence from the far-right groups. Approximately 100,000 people attended the Warsaw Festival, according to local news reports. Attendee Ivana Oletsky filmed the disgusting display of hate. The group streamed it live on Facebook without any repercussions from the social media site. Facebook has been repeatedly decried for allowing anti-LGBTQ content to remain on the site while censoring pro-LGBTQ photos and posts that condemn the religious right.
The church. It's the church again. Yeah. It's the only answer. It's the church again.
Yeah.
So did anybody go to Facebook jail for that?
No.
Nobody did.
No. It's the ongoing fight of the contradiction. Any of you at the table could post pro-LGBT and maybe a 50-50 that it would survive because somebody would protest it. Facebook would take it down, or the algorithm would take it down. Yet this goes on. Yeah.
It's terrible. We got to let Facebook know they got to change this policy.
Yeah, and we've got to change Poland. We've also got to change Poland.
Yeah. All right, next, queer up politics. Senator Josh Hawley continues obsession with manhood. Protests too much? Senator Josh Hawley is continuing his campaign to be the voice for marginalized, straight, white, cisgender males in America in a new rambling op-ed published by the National Review. We're starting to think he might actually need therapy. Hawley begins, quote, "Liberals and reporters get awfully sensitive when you criticize pornography and video games. They get even more sensitive when you blame modern liberalism for men's addiction to them," end of quote. The 41-year-old once again goes on to say that porn and video games, quote, "embody the spiritual emptiness that plagues many men in America today," end of quote, and that men use them to fill the void they feel from liberals. I mean, Senator, please, this is a man who votes against everything. He votes against every cabinet member that Biden brings. He tries to introduce crazy bills that are making parents against teachers. This guy's a real real peace.
Out of the mouths of porn addicts.
Good point. I love that we have a story about him virtually every night on Queer News Tonight. Last night he was a drag queen,
Yeah,
right?
this
Which
is
I
called
love to report.
Pylon, Josh Hawley Week. It's
Absolutely.
a holiday.
We
in
need t-shirts.
LGBT.
Well, if he's so worried about masculinity, he's got to stop putting his hands on his hips.
Yeah.
You know, I
Girl.
was just going to say, every time I see a photo of him or every time I see an interview, my gaydar is in the red. It just.
Who thinks that Senator Hawley, let's give him respect, Senator Josh Hawley, is cute? I think he's cute.
Surprise, surprise, Al Ferguson.
I think he's cute. But
My
you know,
God.
Senator Hawley,
You've got odd taste.
I have to, and we had in this story, girl, please. Girl, please. The one thing that I would say to you, Senator Hawley, is if it's a choice of video games being a representation leading to lack of masculinity, or watching porn leading to a loss of masculinity, there's something that's way greater than that, and that is called attacking the Capitol on January 6th. The biggest girls and cowards in America did that, and you basically said nothing. So get your priorities right. I'll take the porn, and I'll take the video games. I won't take anarchy.
Yes.
Hear, hear.
I like that.
All right, well, it's time to queer up the world. Used condoms found in cruising areas are killing
I
wildlife.
love the stories you get here.
I'm getting a reputation here. Okay, it's not just the gays who like public sex anymore. And when there's a good cruising spot, it can actually impact local nature. A study has explored the damage public sex has on the dunes of Gran Canaria, one of Spain's Canary Islands. Rare plants have disappeared, and jellyfish-eating Grand Canary giant lizards have died due to ingesting the condoms left by those looking for some public pleasure. They should just make edible condoms, right? In the Journal of Environmental Management, researchers examined the discarded waste found in the dunes and its impact on the surrounding ecosystem. For the article, scientists investigated almost 300 popular sex areas across 2 square miles in the Dunes de Maspalomas Special Nature Reserve. Patrick Hesp, a professor at Flinders University in Australia, wrote that he and his team found damage to 10 different plant species, including 3 of which are found only in the dunes. While isolated sex isn't a problem, Hesp wrote, it's the cruising attracting hundreds of people a day. He says, quote, it's similar to the impact of four-wheel drive driving, which may have a relatively low impact on dune ecosystems if vehicle numbers are low, but leads to major erosion and habitat destruction when vehicle numbers are high, end quote.
So essentially, the wildlife is killing the wildlife.
Well said.
Oh,
You know, I've actually been to Maspalomas and the dunes, not in the cruising, I might add. I guess I missed it. It's beautiful, but I did not see that going on. But you got to give some people their props. I mean, people are having safe sex in the dunes.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
you know, there's a good side of this story.
Yeah, you got to give it a positive spin.
Lizards are dying because of it.
We should just move on.
Everyone else is silent. Well, one thing that I will say, maybe perhaps this is too soon. I don't want the plants and I don't want the lizards to die in Gran Canaria. But as I was watching that story, I was thinking, you know, eating condoms and then, you know, whatever. I know so many boys that won't drive that do the exact. Wait, no.
Oh my God.
We're still healthy. Yeah, but I don't understand. Like, how many people are really having so much sex in that area that it's killing the wildlife and trees
Have you
and
ever
plants.
swallowed a condom?
Oh my God.
Well, no. I've swallowed cock, but not a condom.
All right. I agree. It's time to move on to clearing up the world.
You should have moved
Let's
on.
say we queer up the world. Ghana legislature debates the world's most homophobic law. Last week, the Parliament of Ghana began public hearings on a controversial plan to criminalize the practice and promotion of homosexuality, a proposed law that is widely supported by the religious leaders, including the country's Catholic bishops. The hearings are part of a debate expected to last around 4 months on the promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values bill. If the controversial law passes, LGBTQ plus people or individuals who hold out for the queer community can face 5 to 10 years prison sentences. Medical care for trans people will also be at risk due to the law criminalizing anyone giving care to individuals undergoing gender-affirming treatment.
Okay, this is why people would rather go to Mas Palomas in West Africa instead of Ghana.
Right. And again, it's a broken record. It's the church.
Yeah,
it's the churches.
Yeah.
It's the church.
Yeah. I just say broadly, this is a country that in many other parts of the world would be discriminated because of race or other related issues, and they have become highly discriminatory themselves. And when Gregg does this headline as the most discriminating law in the world, it is. It wipes out existence of LGBT and then punishes you if you acknowledge existence of LGBT, including imprisonment.
My God.
Right. Does this remind anybody of Nazi Germany in 1939?
Of course.
That's what this is.
Well, that is our queer headlines for today. So let's catch up on the LGBTQ plus news surrounding COVID-19 with our special segment called Quarantine Quickies.
Queer News Tonight has reported on coronavirus every week since January 6, 2020. Tonight we report that as of today, more than 3,365,000 LGBTQ plus Americans have contracted COVID-19.
Queer News Tonight remembers the more than 54,000 LGBTQ plus Americans that have died from coronavirus.
But the news is improving because as of today, more than 422 million vaccination doses have been administered in the U.S.
That is our pandemic news for tonight. Next, we report on our partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Inn, supporting that partnership. Happening Out Television Network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ plus religious live broadcast in the world as more than 30,000 watch every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Watch this.
I'm Kiara Johnson, the Executive Director of the National LGBTQ Task Force. And as one of the most important civil rights organizations, I know the value of the support that comes from all corners of our community. That's why Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Next up, welcome to Queer News Tonight's Q&A on LGBTQ plus health and pandemic. Since February 2020, this segment has been unique in America, answering your LGBTQ plus community questions about our unique health needs. We are proud to have Queer News Tonight health anchor, Dr. Howard Grossman.
He's an American pioneer in HIV/AIDS medical treatment and was the executive director of the American Academy of HIV Medicine. He's a nationally recognized medical expert and proud member of our LGBTQ plus community.
Well, good evening, Dr. Grossman. And before
Hi, Al.
How are you? Before we move into questions tonight, we want to discuss with you any particular thoughts that you have over this week's health news for our community. Anything in particular?
Well, Al, you've got a big group tonight, and hello from Chicago. I think the biggest stories this week, I think, is that some states and localities are moving ahead with booster doses for everybody over the age of 18, and I think that they're moving faster than the CDC. So in the last week, California, Colorado, New Mexico, New York City have all announced that vaccines the third dose will be available to everybody 18 years and over. And I think that that's dramatic change.
And you're indicating that we shouldn't be taking the booster until FDA and CDC recommends?
No, you know me better than that.
I wanted to make sure you were clear in what you're telling us.
I think the data is very clear that the effects of the vaccine are waning after 6 months in people. That we, as we head into this winter season and holiday season, that getting that third dose really makes sense for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not like we have a supply problem here in the U.S. I think many people in Florida, where this hasn't gone through, are going to the drugstore and saying that they have an immunosuppressive disease, and nobody's really asking any questions. And I don't fault them for that, because I think the CDC is moving way too slowly on this.
Well, and Dr. Grossman, of course, in Florida, you've recently left, but in Florida, we don't have COVID-19 here. There is no pandemic issue. So,
is that what the legislature decided this week?
That's what my governor tells me, and I believe my governor. All right, let's jump into tonight's questions.
Dr. Grossman, last weekend was the Tortuga Music Festival here on Fort Lauderdale Beach, and this weekend is Pride Fort Lauderdale. Do you think that the beaches are safe now?
I think beaches are safe in general. I'm not sure about these huge events. Here in Chicago, they had Lollapalooza, and there were a certain number of infections that kicked up, but it wasn't as bad as people had predicted it would be, and that was certainly, 400,000 people, I think, a lot bigger than the events in Fort Lauderdale. I think certainly if people are vaccinated that we can be more relaxed. In a crowd situation like that, I don't think there's anything wrong with wearing a mask. Of course, that's not going to probably happen in Florida. But I think with the number of when people are vaccinated, they certainly are in a safer position to enjoy themselves. And the beach, I thought it was a mistake to close the beach in the first place way back, because it was an open area with the wind blowing, and that was probably the safest place for people to be back in 2020.
After a year and a half, Doctor, a non-COVID question. A woman in Argentina appears to have fought off HIV on her own, making her the second confirmed case. What do you make of this news?
Well, I think the fact that there are now 3 cases of people who, like Timothy Brown, had, transplants and were able to seemingly wipe out the virus, and now we've got 2 cases of people who sort of did it naturally, is sort of proof of concept that it can happen. Certainly these are very rare events. I mean, we know that there are people who are elite controllers. We've known this for a long time, where you really can't find any evidence of active HIV replication at all controlled by the body. And but it's proof that the attempts at developing a workable cure are not futile. But it certainly is an incredibly rare event.
Hey, Dr. Grossman, have you seen changes in how people seek PrEP or HIV treatment due to pandemic?
Hi, Tony. So, I think we saw in the worst parts of the pandemic that there were lots of people who went off PrEP. And we did see a drop in STDs for a little bit of time, but actually I was talking to people here at Howard Brown, and they said that they didn't see a drop off in STDs at all during the time when people were supposedly isolating. I think we did see a lot of people go off of PrEP and now are coming back on it. What bothers me and what I think we need to warn people about is if they've had a period where they haven't been on PrEP, they really should get an HIV test before they restart it, because a lot of people are sitting on bottles that they've had for a year and they just start taking it again. That's not really appropriate unless you absolutely haven't had any sexual contact in the last year. But if there's been any sexual contact, it's really important to get an HIV test before restarting.
Well, and Dr. Grossman, remember too, you're hearing that reporting there where you're at in Chicago. We are here in South Florida, and our governor tells us we don't have any STDs. I couldn't even get the joke out with a straight face. All right. Well, that is the.
I know that they have them all. They're going to get them all in Tallahassee.
Yeah, exactly. That is this evening's Queer News Tonight's Q&A on LGBTQ plus health and pandemic. We're here every Tuesday night with Dr. Howard Grossman to answer your questions. Dr. Grossman is a nationally known and is now part of the team at Howard Brown Medical Center in Chicago, one of the largest LGBTQ healthcare facilities in the Midwest. Howard used to live right at the corner of Dixie and Wilton Drive, and I told him he would get to one horrible moment, which he has tonight. Congratulations to you. You've moved to Chicago, and now you're indoors, and indoors you have to wear a jacket. 72 here right now, Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale. You enjoy
It
your
was
winter.
56. It was 56 here today, but it snowed. It snowed yesterday.
Yeah, it snowed yesterday, and it's 56. Yeah. All right. Well, you enjoy your winter, Howard. You enjoy your winter. So thank you very much for being with us again this week. Well, we're going to finish tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment that we call LGBTQ plus Flash News. In LGBTQ plus Flash News, a $500 bounty is offered by Anti-LGBTQ group to turn in divisive teachers. An anti-LGBT organization that thinks that books about seahorses holding tails are too risque for schools in offering a bounty to turn in teachers for teaching divisive subjects when it comes to diversity in schools. A new law passed by Republican lawmakers in New Hampshire, of all places, bans teachers from discussing divisive topics about racism, sexism, and diversity, part of an increased conservative scrutiny on public education that has seen conservatives showing up at school boards to protest and cause chaos when it comes to diversity education. COVID-19 measures, transgender students being treated equally, and LGBTQ books in libraries are all under attack. And now, you know them, Moms for Liberty, there's I think 6 of them, is encouraging conservatives to use the form to turn in their kids' teachers, and they're even offering a bounty to do it. They told their followers, quote, "We've got $500 for the person that is the first to successfully catch a public school teacher breaking this law. Students, parents, teachers, school staff, we want to know. We will pledge anonymity if you want." This is an example of the chill factor that the minority of these radical conservatives are doing. Just like we're watching in Texas, this is designed, like the abortion law, to call out and make people fearful of the society that we're beginning to live in. By the way, have any of you watched Handmaid's Tale?
This is really just incredible and infuriating at the same time. Where are the progressives? Like, we're talking about New Hampshire. We're not talking about Texas or the Deep South for that matter. Where are the progressives pushing back on this ridiculousness with facts?
I agree. I mean, this is disgusting. It's like instead of a witch hunt, it's a teacher hunt now. You've got to call out any teacher that talks about any potentially progressive topic. It's completely wrong. It's turned kids against their teachers.
$500 goes a long way in New Hampshire. You can buy a lot of black market oxy that way.
Well, I'm funding my entire play, Vent in Chester, so I can use the $500.
We're going to buy tickets.
Okay,
We're
great.
going to buy tickets. LGBTQ.
Wait, you wanted free tickets.
I thought he was going to offer free because he's here and it's
free, don't pay the bills. I told you.
No, we'll buy tickets, Peter. We're good. Okay, LGBTQ plus Flash News. Waylon Smithers will finally have a boyfriend and love on The Simpsons.
Yay.
Waylon Smithers Jr., the loyal assistant to cantankerous billionaire Montgomery Burns, will finally find love in a landmark episode of The Simpsons. The character, who came out in a 2016 episode of the animated Fox series, will be at the center of a gay romance storyline in an episode set to air on November 21st. The upcoming episode, titled Portrait of a Lackey on Fire, was written by longtime series writer Rob Rob Lazebnik and his son Johnny Lazebnik, who inspired him to write Smithers' original coming out episode. Johnny Lazebnik told the New York Post this week, quote, "So often, gay romances are a subplot or alluded to or shown in some kind of montage or as a punchline. And what I think I was really excited about with this episode, we get to see, without spoiling too much, the beginning, middle, and who knows how it ends of a gay relationship, of really getting into the nitty-gritty of how gay people date, how they meet, what it's like," end quote. The original episode where Smithers came out was written by Rob based on his son Johnny's own coming out. I love this. Art imitates life, representation matters, and now even in the Simpsons this is happening, which is really, really exciting.
It's amazing. I love it. I kind of Googled it earlier, and he's going to date a fashion designer. And since my boyfriend is a fashion designer, I think this is a wonderful choice for them to come out with. I'm excited. Let's all tune in. Make sure the ratings go up. You make sure they do more of these shows.
You can guarantee the ratings are going to be huge.
Cowabunga, gay dude.
What is wrong with you?
He is so cute. Leave him alone.
So I have to name drop right now. 20 years ago, I lived in LA and I worked as the regional marketing director for Borders Books. Remember Borders Books? Mm-hmm. And we brought in Nancy Cartwright for book signing.
Oh, awesome.
And her and I became good friends.
Yeah, awesome.
She used to invite me to her house all the time, her pool parties. She has this big Bart yellow home in Northridge, California.
Yeah. And we're going to be shipping him back to the home. A fact that you may not be aware of that I love on this, in anticipation of this story, in Las Vegas, you can bet on anything. And in Las Vegas, you can bet on Waylon Smithers, whether he's going to be a top or a bottom in the episode. You can bet on that.
Is that going to be answered on The Simpsons?
I believe it is going to be. I think there's lots of rumor that they're going to discuss it.
Okay, well... Okay, LGBTQ plus flash news. Matthew Camp's new doll lets you play with your heartthrob. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be with adult actor and absolute heartthrob Matthew Camp? Me neither. But apparently you can, because there's a doll for that now. Yes, you heard me right. A real life-sized Matthew Camp sex doll is now available for your purchase and for your pleasure. The 37-year-old hunk announced the release of the official Matt Camp doll yesterday on his social media. Watch this, or don't watch this.
Hey guys, what's up? I got the coolest fucking thing in the mail a day or two ago, and I've been waiting to open it on camera for you guys. It's amazing. It is a doll. Oh, am I allowed to say that? It's a doll that looks just like me. Fully. Oh my god. Oh my god. Does that look like me a little bit? Yeah. Ooh, look at, they like hand did each hair. Are those my eyes? Gorgeous. Pretty close. Wow. I gotta say, my whites are not that white. I've had a hard life. It's been a long, hard life of doing porn and sucking dick. So, look at the skin texture. Bitch, they knew. They're like, this is a 37-year-old man. We need to add some texture to that skin. Look at that. Holy shit. Alright guys, this is pretty fucking cool. Closer. This is pretty cool. It's crazy. It looks very, very... It's me. It's like identical. This is exactly what I look like.
So I can finally tell him to go fuck himself.
For sure. I'm sorry, I'm going to break the rules. I have 3 comments. First off, you're going to see this story on Tucker Carlson tonight. Second, you just saw Vent and Chester in Peter Bisuito's new show coming up. And finally, wow, I can't wait. Matthew, with all due respect, I love your doll, but I'm waiting for this Senator Josh Hawley one.
Yeah, then we could all blow a load.
Oh no. I don't know. My first thought when you started talking about this was I'm too old to play with dolls, and who is this guy anyway? But after seeing him, I was just, absorbed by the beauty of his skin. 37. He has a good dermatologist. He looks better than the doll.
Lots of overhead lighting.
I was just wondering if you'd bring yours in so we can actually see it.
Does anyone else think it looks like one of those resuscitation dolls you practice CPR on? Just asking.
Kissing himself, that was just
Yeah,
a little
kissing yourself in a doll is a little creepy.
Matt Camp, we're happy for you. Seriously, we are happy for you.
So that is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing, ring the bell for updates, share this news with your friends and family.
Post this broadcast and the many groups you are a member of. Tonight's stories about our community deserve the attention of your family and friends.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
Well, if our community is going to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells stories like this, including the Matt Camp doll.
Don't share that one with your family and friends. Don't.
And the reason this is important is because these stories are clearly in motion and sound. Maybe more motion and sound than you want to see. Well, that is the passion, of course, of the Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight. I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Tony Lima, Michael Gongora, Peter Bisuito, and Gregg Shapiro. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. But before we end the show, however, we have one more story.
Yes, Queer Up South Florida. Equality Florida's Nadine Smith talks about the perilous moment LGBTQ plus Florida has reached. During Saturday's Equality Florida Broward Gala, Al Ferguson and Kitty Meow interviewed Nadine Smith, the executive director of Equality Florida. In the interview, they discussed the importance of equality and how voting can help. Watch this.
Well, it's Al Ferguson with Queer News Tonight. It's happening out, and my co-partner here tonight.
Hi, Kitty Meow here.
From the Kitty Meow Show.
Absolutely.
And of course, the person standing between us needs no introduction. We're getting ready. We're here at the Equality Florida 19th Annual Broward Gala, and we're getting ready to hear the state of the state. And of course, Nadine Smith. We've known each other from when the dinosaurs walked the earth.
I remember it well.
Don't say it. Exactly. Welcome, Nadine. We're really happy. What an amazing event this is tonight. Tell us a little bit about Equality Florida and mission for the three people that don't know what Equality Florida does.
Well, you know what? Next year's our 25th anniversary, 25 years of Equality Florida. And in that time, you know, we have spent decades building a statewide infrastructure. These galas are the beating heart of the organization. It's where we get the resources to do the work. It's where we celebrate the volunteers and we honor the champions. And so our mission has been to secure equality and equity for the LGBTQ community, whether you live in the Panhandle where I grew up or live on the beach in Miami or out here in Broward. No matter where you are in the state of Florida, you have a right to exist without discrimination and with your dignity and your safety protected.
You know, in 2020, I did not ever think that we would ever see the gains in LGBT that we saw with President Obama. And then this little thing happened in 2020 of President Biden and Vice President Harris. And the sweeping embracement of LGBT in all levels, representation, Admiral Dr. Rachel Levine, representation. What's the year been like for you in terms of your enthusiasm of seeing what you're seeing in our federal government?
Well, you know, I think that as a country, we're at this inflection point where there are people very fearful of the future. They're very fearful of a future that embraces diversity, racial, LGBTQ, different religions, different, this backlash, the scapegoating of immigrants, the efforts to push back on the protections that we have secured really comes from an anxiety, particularly among older white voters, that they're about to be a minority in a country that has not treated minorities well. And I think our challenge is to put forward a vision of America that includes everyone. That it's not about who's higher up on the totem pole. It's about how do you make this world equitable for everyone. And until that message, really penetrates, and I don't know, I know that we've changed the the country by coming out, being our authentic selves, telling our stories. And now I think the hard work is maintaining the ties that bind, even with the people who in many ways are betraying us, are voting for people who don't protect us. And yet they're our family, they're our friends from high school, they're people in our world that we have to maintain some semblance of connection at a time when we're being pulled apart. And I think if we don't, we're going to have chaos and violence and a lot of pushback. But I think that there is a more hopeful future.
I love the word hopeful. Just sitting here listening to you communicate, that's what we have to convey to the people who think they're our enemies.
Absolutely, and fear is their enemy. It's not us.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the fear in many of our communities in LGBT is real. You have watched, while I talk about the mammoth successes we've seen in 2020, one of our communities, the trans community, has effectively been left behind by many states, state legislatures, including Florida. I had the pleasure of doing an extensive interview with your new trans director for Equality Florida. Tell us about Equality Florida's advocacy in the LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ+. Introduces a progressive Pride Street. Yesterday, Queer News Tonight reported on the new Progress Pride flag crosswalk on Sebastian Street at Gay 1A. I wasn't here last night at Queer News Tonight because I was on location and got to interview Mayor Trantalis about the historic crossing. While the current crosswalk is a temporary vinyl one, the mayor said he is personally handling a fundraiser to have it added permanently. Watch this. Well, it's Al Ferguson with Queer News Tonight, and I'm here, of course, with the Mayor of Fort Lauderdale, Dean Trantalis, and we're at the ceremony introducing the Progressive Pride flag on Gay 1A. Wait, I thought this was A1A.
No, this week it's Gay 1A.
Yeah, Gay 1A, and it's Gay 1A this week because we're at Pride Fort Lauderdale, and this week is the launch of the celebration, November 20th and 21st. We're going to have a magnificent parade down A1A, one of the best beach roads in the country to have a Pride festival and parade, and then into the South Beach Park for the festival on Saturday and Sunday. How proud are you of this moment for the city of Fort Lauderdale?
It's a long time coming, and we really appreciate the community coming together and embracing the diversity that Fort Lauderdale represents. And here, the LGBT community, who has long populated this area of the beach, the Sebastian Street beach right here, and this being Sebastian Street, is a perfect place to have put the LGBTQ flag, the progressive flag, right here, covering the pathway between the parking lot and the beach. And I think the whole city is proud to be able to be part of this.
Absolutely, and the city is proud during Pride Week, and it's a win-win for all of the residents of Broward County and the city of Fort Lauderdale. Now, we have to get in the fact that Mayor Trantalis Trantalis is also a member of our community.
Yes.
And is there any city in the country major city, others that are like you, that are members of our community?
I haven't taken a survey, but I'm sure. I know there once was in South Bend, but he's now secretary.
Oh yeah, he went on to do something else.
He did something bigger, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But
and Lori Lightfoot in Chicago.
And Lori, of course,
yes. In Chicago.
There are a number of them, and when we get to meet as in the U.S. Conference of Mayors, we certainly connect. But I'm proud to be the mayor of Fort Lauderdale, and I'm proud to be able to represent the LGBT community. And I think it's an important milestone in a community that really hasn't always embraced who we were, and now here we are today, a forward-thinking, progressive community. I'm very happy to be reflected.
And last question for you while I have you. Thank you for the time. This is going to launch 1 year from now another Pride evolution of Pride Fort Lauderdale called Pride of the Americas, and the entire Western Hemisphere, like a world pride, is going to come to Fort Lauderdale and Broward County, but to the city of Fort Lauderdale. Tell us a little bit about that, Pride of America.
So a couple of years ago, the community had planned Pride of the Americas, and unfortunately COVID took away that dream. So we are hoping to return to that goal next year, to be able to bring the countries of the Western Hemisphere right here in Fort Lauderdale to celebrate Pride of the Western Hemisphere. So it's Pride of the Americas. What better place than this gorgeous Fort Lauderdale beach, and a community that embraces diversity, and it's going to be an amazing enterprise. Talent, entertainment, visibility, everything that we deserve and that we enjoy is all going to happen right here.
It sounds so exciting. Make sure you come to Pride Fort Lauderdale, the big parade this Saturday, and the festival on Saturday and Sunday. All kinds of entertainment coming. And if you can't get here, we will be broadcasting it live right on K1A. What a great name for a new street.
It fits.
It does. It fits. Thank you for being with us. All the luck, and congratulations on your new progressive flag right here in the heart of Fort Lauderdale.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Well, a flag on Sebastian Street. What do y'all think?
I think it's great. We've had one in Miami Beach for a while. We've had the Pride Crosswalk at 12th and Ocean, and it really sends a message that our community's welcome there.
I think it's really exciting that it's the progressive Pride flag, which is really inclusive of all of our communities, including the trans and non-binary community, Black and brown folks. And I also love to hear that this is going to be a permanent thing.
Well, like you always say, it's the gayest place on planet Earth. It just got gayer.
Yes, you know what's interesting to me about that? They were taking pictures, and to your point about a progressive flag, they were taking pictures, and they were taking pictures at the other end where the rainbow portion is. And I finally said, y'all are taking pictures from the wrong end of it.
It's the chevron.
You want to start at the chevron and see the rainbow colors behind the progressive colors, to include the pink, white, blue, brown, and black. And it was interesting. Everybody kind of laughed a little of going, oh yeah, we kind of got to get used to this again. So I agree with you. The progressive flag is really outstanding. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to